So I'm kind of under the weather. I'm exhausted for a variety of reasons and just been trucking through the daily videos that I've been making. I don't know if you can tell, I just kind of keep pumping them out anyway. Because I'm like, whatever. The story I'm going to tell myself is how I just continued to do things even when I was tired and things were suboptimal. So there's some real reasons why I choose to continue producing. Because I've thought, like, why produce things if you feel like you could why not give in to perfectionism, basically. And my reason for not giving in to perfectionism is those who made the best pots made the most pots. I think that's true. I think it's, if you want to really test your capacity in an area and develop your capacity in an area, you have to push yourself. You don't have to do that all the time, but you have to do that in some dimension across some way. Like, for example, like my physical training. I don't currently train jujitsu every single day, but I train movement calisthenics every single day in a way where I'm constantly pushing myself, but in this very limited domain. But without further ado, Beyond Good and Evil, Walter Kaufman, translation, Aphorism 7, I believe. I believe this is Aphorism 7 that we're on. So, because I did Aphorism 6 the last time at that monument in Sanford. That was really fun. And then I had some things go awry while traveling in Florida and whatever. I think that this is really perfect for what I want to use it for just prompting daily videos, because fundamentally this is really the edge of philosophy right now. Like, there's so much new technology that the question becomes, what can man do with the new technology and how does that change philosophy? So really, me reading Beyond Good and Evil onto a smartphone that I'm posting on YouTube in these, and Rumble, and in these videos, this is the edge of modern philosophy in a real way. This is really the edge of modern philosophy. And I could ultimately try to, and I think ultimately investing in, until I have some sort of way of controlling my own media distribution, I think that I should focus on books, because books, I could control my own media distribution through print on demand and through allowing people to download ebooks. And this fundamentally, making videos in this way is, there's a lot to be said for philosophy, human communication, and information technology. Like the printing press, for instance, enables books. Books enable high level discussion, Beyond Good and Evil. The internet, smartphones. What does it all mean? Here I am. It's kind of a beautiful image, honestly, me in my car on this phone. Like, this is actually a really aesthetic shot. I would put this in like a Wes Anderson movie. Beyond Good and Evil, Aphorism 7. How malicious philosophers can be. I know of nothing more venomous than the joke Epicurus permitted himself against Plato and the Platonists. He called them Dionysiokaulax. That means literally, on this the foreground meaning, flatterers of Dionysus. In other words, tyrant's baggage, lickspittles. But in addition to this, he also wants to say they are all actors. There is nothing genuine about them. For Dionysiokolax was a popular name for an actor. And the latter is really the malice that Epicurus aimed at Plato. He was peeved by the grandiose manner, the mise en scene, at which Plato and his disciples were so expert, at which Epicurus was not an expert. He, that old schoolmaster from Samos, who sat hidden away in his little garden at Athens, and wrote 300 books, who knows, perhaps from rage and ambition against Plato, It took 100 years until Greece found out who this garden god Epicurus had been. Did they find out? Okay. How malicious philosophers can be. I know nothing more venomous than the joke Epicurus permitted himself against Plato and the Platonists. He called them Dionysio Colax. I wonder if he did. Nietzsche says things in Beyond Good and Evil that aren't necessarily accurate. Like, I think he said that Plato died with Aristophanes under his pillow, which is not actually true. Peeved the grandiose manner, the mise en scène at which Plato and his disciples were so extra. So this is something I'm actually not reference to Epicurus. The references to Epicurus this is on 8. This is interesting. You get to see me reason through this now. How malicious philosophers can be. I know of nothing more venomous than the joke Epicurus permitted himself against Plato and the Platonists. He called them Dionysio Colax. That means literally, and this is the foreground meaning, flatterers of Dionysus. In other words, tyrants, baggage, and lickspittles. But in addition to this, he also wants to say they are all actors. There's nothing genuine about them. For Dionysio Colax, the popular name for an actor, and then footnote 8, the reference is to Epicurus fragment 238, and the ambiguity is due to the fact that Dionysius was the name of a Sicilian tyrant whom Plato had tried for several years to convert to his own philosophy. And then mise en scène is staging. The grandiose manner which Plato's disciples were so expert. I am not so familiar with that. This is where I think that the aphorisms can be a very useful index of Western philosophy. So this would be something. I looked into Epicurus a bit since retouching on Beyond Good and Evil in this current. This is like my 8th time reading Beyond Good and Evil, and I've just decided to go into these videos while I make it while I read it again, as sort of like a echoing reading. So I have me listening to the audiobook, and then I have my own reading of it, and then I'm also making these videos because I'm limiting myself to one aphorism a day. And yeah, this is one of the reasons. So I could the old schoolmaster from Samos who sat away in his little garden at Athens with 300 books. So Epicurus is interesting. Epicurus was called a hedonist, but he's really Epicurean. He's really someone who recommends using the body as a sort of North Star, which is almost a Christian idea because the Logos became embodied in the human body, which makes the human body itself an icon of the Word of God. So I think that because this is meant to be a touch upon series, like, I'm not exhausting Beyond Good and Evil. I just got an interpretation that I want to convey that makes sense to me, that's very useful to me, and a lot of questions as well. So did they find out? Do we even know who Epicurus is now? I don't know. This is very fascinating, but tune in tomorrow or the day after for Aphorism 8. Maybe I'll even get to that now and upload that today as well. We'll see.